everybody. Welcome to another episode of Crafternoon with Camrose Public Library. I am Nicole. I'm going to show you what we're making before I tell you what we need to make it out of. It's a little fall wreath. Can you see that? There's the back side of it. Can you guess what it's made out of now that you can see the back of it? That's right. It's made out of egg cartons. So for this project, you're going to need a couple of egg cartons. I've got 18 packs because they have the most interesting hills and valleys inside, which is what we're going to build our components out of. You are going to need a base for your wreath. So what I did for this was I just took a big piece of cardboard and a dinner plate to trace the outside and a dessert plate to trace the middle. And then you can cut that out with a utility knife. Please ask an adult for help with a utility knife if you need to. You will also need a small pair of scissors and a hot glue gun. Again, ask for help with this if you need it. You'll need either some paints or markers would work to color all of your pieces as well. You will go through a lot of paint because you need the cardboard egg cartons. They'll soak up a lot of paint and a lot of markers. So first part we're gonna do is, well, I showed you how to make the base, so you can just set that aside for now. Now you need to break up your egg carton into pieces. So you need shapes like these. If you can see, this piece made these big blue flowers. This piece actually makes all of the leaves, and I'll show you that in a moment because I want to show you where I got these pieces from in the egg carton. This is the one that I cut them from. You can see that they are the peaks that keep the eggs safe. So you can use your utility knife to cut those out. And once you have a few of them cut out, you're going to need to pull apart. You might want to take all the peaks from one to make different shaped flowers and leaves, and then use your other egg carton. And you can just start pulling it apart because it's the egg cups themselves that are going to make the flatter, smaller flowers. So the easiest way to do that is to pull off your lid, pull off this part, and if you bend your egg carton, grab it from the back and bend it forward, it'll just start to rip. Saves you using your utility knife for every part of this craft because it can be tricky to pull these apart, or to cut them apart, I should say. And then you can just pull them apart. And I would say I used maybe 20 or more. You can make as many as you want. And then to make these into little leaves, you need to trim them down. Flowers. You need to trim them down. You don't want all these edges hanging off. So as evenly as you can, just cut around your egg cup. So this would make one of the tall ones. I've got different heights. The flat flowers are made out of smaller cups. So you can trim it right down almost to the very base to make tiny flowers. And as far as the shapes of the flowers go, you can just use your imagination and snip off pieces here and there. I found the easiest way to make these little guys right here, one of the shorter ones, is you think of it as a square. So you want to cut across from each other. I don't know if you can see where I made my cuts. And then you just want to make sure that you're spacing them evenly. So 4 cuts, and then in between each of your 4 cuts, you make 4 more cuts. And then you can carefully push them flat. It's already starting to look like a flower, and I haven't even rounded the petals yet, see? And then you can round those petals however you want to make your tiny little flowers. You can cut them. I made some jagged, I made some rounded, I made some uneven. You can see the designs. I'll just twirl it here for you. and on a side view so you can see. So to make the flowers, you use those, and to make the tall flowers, you just use these and you just trim, and they look like a giant bluebell or something. Just trim them into half moons. So I'm not going to show you how to make all the flowers. You can experiment and make them the shapes that you want them. I will, however, show you how to make the leaves. Where did my leaf part go? Oh, here it is. So this is one of the shorter square pieces from the middle of the egg carton. You can cut that out. And then if you cut them all the way down to the base in the corners, you can carefully pull them off of that square. Ooh, that would make an interesting big flower too. Pull them off of the base, and then you just have to, they're already pretty much leaf shaped. You just have to trim them a little bit, give them a bit of a point if you want pointy leaves. There. And then the fun part, the painting. You can give them as much or as little detail as you want. I used some black and some orange and blue and teal and red. And then the best way, once you have all your pieces painted, before you start gluing them, you kind of want to lay them out on your wreath base to figure out where you need to fill holes in. You start with the flowers. So you want to glue flowers on first. So place them all and then lift them up one at a time and glue them back where you picked them up from. That's the easiest way to get some good placement. And then once those are all dry, the leaves themselves, you can just tuck them in behind the flowers and lay them in. It's easier to place the leaves once the flowers have been glued on. That way, when you're trying to lift things up to glue them up on, things aren't sliding all over the place. I made mine kind of a fall wreath, so if you look closely, you can see I painted my leaves green, but then I put some brown and some orange over top of them to make them look like they're starting to wither a little bit. I hope you have fun with this project. Thanks, and we will see you next week.